Come read with me. This is Violet, and I'm reading from my second book, It Takes Two, A Little Bit Me and a Little Bit You. This chapter is Dell's voice, and it is called Roll Call. Roll call was every time we got resupplied. We got a mail bag, and if you got mail, they would call your name. If you didn't get mail, they didn't call your name. Fortunately for me, my wife wrote to me every day. So I usually got 2 or 3 letters from home, which were probably the most valuable things I had when I was in Vietnam. Well, that was a super short thing there. Okay, hopes and heartaches. While I was staying with Joyce, this is me again, she and I would often go into town to shop and have lunch at Woolworth's. They had a really great roast beef sandwich. It was open-faced with mashed potatoes on the side and beef gravy over everything. Sometimes we rode our bikes, and other times she drove. She had a baby carrier on the back of her bike for James to ride in. We would sometimes stop at a store just to get the 1-ounce packages of cream cheese and eat it plain. While driving through town, I had noticed a billboard advertising a weekend in Hawaii for $200. Dell was supposed to be eligible for R&R, or rest and relaxation, about halfway through his term in Vietnam. The Army had figured out that the GIs needed a break to recover from the trauma of battle. Dell had written that he would probably get to go to Hawaii and I could meet him there. So I called the number and I got the information on the rental. For $200, we could rent a house for a week, complete with furnishings, kitchen utensils, and salt and pepper. We would be met at the airport by greeters with flower leis and a car to drive us to the cottage. This all sounded wonderful, so I paid my deposit and waited for Dell to tell me the date that we could meet for a week of rest, relaxation, and renewal. My birthday had come and gone, and I had received as a present from Dell a Vietnamese kimono and a lacy cotton negligee. Both were too small for me because they were made with small Oriental women in mind. He also sent the same to his sisters, who also have birthdays in February. I had gone to Fresno with Joyce and her family for the weekend, and as was my custom, I first went to visit Dell's family. I asked if they had any news of him and shared what I knew. Dell's mother gave me no indication that she had heard anything from Dell other than what I told her. Then, later that afternoon, while visiting at my parents' house back in Fresno, Fonda and her friend happened to come over. Quote, "I heard that Dell is in Hong Kong on R&R, she said to me." I asked her how she knew that. She told me that she had seen Dell's mother earlier that day in the bank in Clovis. She had asked about Dell, and Dell's mother told her that she had received a call from him earlier asking her to wire him $100. He had tried to call me too, but we were on our way to Fresno, so we had missed the call. Needless to say, I was quite shocked and a little angry too. Not only was our trip to Hawaii ruined, but Dell's mother had heard from him and had chosen to withhold the information. I then got to work trying to find out where he was staying so that I might at least call and talk to him. Joyce drove me back to Clovis from Fresno, and when I found out from his family what hotel he was staying in and got the phone number, I went to Fonda's house and made an international call to Hong Kong. I had been saving money for the Hawaii trip, and I assured Fonda that I would pay for the call. An international call was more than $4 a minute. That's a lot of money back then. When the phone rang on his end, Dell was sound asleep. It was 2 o'clock in the morning there, and he was surprised to hear from me. I did not tell him that his mother had withheld the information about the change in his R&R, but I explained to him why I had missed his call. He told me that the Army had changed his orders quite suddenly and sent him to Hong Kong instead of Hawaii. There was nothing he could do about it. After the R&R, He was being transferred up north to the 4th Infantry Division, further in country. We talked for about an hour, but didn't say very much. Fonda had worried about her phone bill and kept coming into the room to hurry me up. I was really annoyed that she would not give us a moment's privacy. The total bill was $412 for the phone call. The average phone bill then was approximately $8 a month. The phone call wiped out my savings, but it was worth it to get to talk to him. You can't put a price on love. Dell asked me if I had received the box of silk he had sent me for my birthday. I told him I had not, and asked him about it. He had purchased several bolts of silk, knowing that I enjoyed sewing, and had sent them to me in care of his mother's address, thinking that it would be sure to get to me. I could not tell him that the things were not well between us. I thought they had smoothed out. Afterward, when I saw his mother again, I asked her about the box. She said she had returned it, unopened. This act of pure malice on her part was one of the hardest things I have had to forgive. Even now, I still feel a pang just thinking about it. The silk I could do without. I wouldn't have known then how to sew on it anyway. But the fact that it was a gift from Dell to me and she held no regard for either of our feelings made it hard to forgive. After that, I was not so anxious to make any special trips into Clovis when I came to Fresno. Nevertheless, I had tried to maintain some sort of relationship with other members of his family. I had a lot of time on my hands, and I wrote letters to his sisters, aunts, and one of his cousins. I received 1 or 2 letters, then they too stopped writing. So I concentrated all my energies into keeping the letters, tapes, and cookies on their way to Dell. I wrote about everything happening in my life. It seemed boring to me to write about the mundane things, but I guess it was important to Dell. It kept us close. He didn't write about the war. I wanted to know what was happening with him also, but for security reasons, he left that part out. Essentially, an entire year of his life was a big mystery to me. While I was in Redwood City, I turned 18 and got my driver's license. There was an older Buick that Joyce's husband wanted to buy, but they didn't have the money for it. I loaned them $300 and they got the car. They gave me opportunities to practice my driving so I could get my license. Once, while practicing in rush hour traffic, I made a left turn and I swung a little too wide. The person in the lane to my right that I had crowded shouted at me, "Learn how to drive!" "I'm trying," I shouted back. Then, once more, things began to happen to upset my world. As if I did not have enough to worry about, Joyce's husband began to do strange things. First, he began telling me lies about some supposed soldier he knew who knew Dell in Vietnam. He told me lies about how this friend of his had personally seen Dell cheating on me. What a low-down, despicable thing to do. I was angry with him, and I told him he knew nothing about Dell and to shut up about it. That if that was not upsetting enough, I would wake up in the middle of the night and find him standing at the edge of my bed staring at me. The baby, James, and I shared a room. I would awaken, see him standing there, and then he would turn and leave the room as if nothing had happened. After that happened a couple times, I became frightened and I bought a lock for the door. When Joyce asked me why I had put a lock on the door, I had no choice but to tell her. Unfortunately, she chose not to believe me. "He is just going in to check on the baby," she said. "It was not the baby he was staring at when I woke up," I insisted. She still refused to believe the truth, so I continued to lock my door at night. I had a previous run-in with her husband before my marriage, and I knew he was not to be trusted. Shortly after she married him, Joyce had asked if I wanted to come and spend the day and night with her. I did not get many opportunities to see her since her wedding, and I was happy to. She fixed me a bed on a couch that was on their front porch. In the middle of the night, I awakened to find Joyce's husband rubbing my leg. I had no idea how long he had been there, but I angrily asked, "What do you think you're doing?" He apologized profusely and tried to take hold of my hand. I jerked my hand away from him and told him to leave me alone. He went back to bed, and the next morning, I had Joyce take me right home. I was physically sick to my stomach all day. That was the main reason I had not wanted to go to her house in the first place. But if I had told anyone, they would not have believed me. People really do not like hearing the truth. So when he started coming into my room the second time, I took no chances. I wrote to Dale and told him what was happening. Then, one day, his letters caught up to me all at once. Boy, did I enjoy reading those letters. When Dale's letters finally started arriving again, he wrote and told me to pack up and get back to Fresno immediately. Now I had another dilemma. I had a house full of furniture. I needed to move, and I had no place to go. How I wished again I had stayed in my little house in Clovis as Dale had told me to. Hard lesson number 3.